That should sound amazing, amazing, amazing. So, go Birds, right?
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Yes.
There you go.
Who
Go
holds a
Birds. I'm super
master's in
excited.
public
Bird Gang is
history from
definitely
Temple
in the
University
building.
and a
So let's
bachelor's
just jump right
in history
into,
from
let's
Loyola
talk to you first of all. I
Let's
always
delve
start the
deep
interview
into
with,
her
how
work
was your day?
transforming
So how was your
Philadelphia's
day?
class.
My day was
Y'all already
good.
know what we
I had
do.
a great
Let's get
day.
the warm talk.
I spent most of the day with
Welcome
my
to
dog,
Kyra
Teddy.
Atterburry.
He's a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel. He's only 8 months old.
Okay, let's give a round of applause for that. Yeah.
He's baby. He's my baby. And we took lots of walks and hung out at home. So it was fun.
Okay, cool. I got a little Frenchie, so I get the little dogs in the
yeah,
building. For sure. I see you got a little eagle parry on.
I always have my bird. I always represent for the birds.
There you go.
Always.
Fantastic. So let's just jump right into you, and some of the things you've been doing, because you have a dynamic resume. So, and just a background in a lot of the things that you do. But I got to shout out to your alma mater, because that's mine.
TU.
TU. They say the birds are everything. TU. TU, mother. We
Owls are everywhere.
Right? No doubt. And so let's just start with that. What encouraged you? Why Temple? Why Temple? And then why the work? Why did your work start there? Yeah.
So when I went to Temple, it was all about the fact that I knew that I would get a great education there. And what I loved about it was the fact that I would get a real education, if that makes sense. Like I could actually work in the field, and I could have real experiences. And that was incredible. I got to work in libraries, and I got to have professors that were working actually in the field and were interested in what I was interested in. And so I loved my time at Temple. It was amazing. Yeah. It was amazing.
Fantastic. Now, you and pretty much children, right? You're going into the ecosystem where our young people are there, right? And so what prompted you to start to go into that field? Yeah.
So my mom was a teacher. She was a Philadelphia public school teacher for 38 years.
Shout out to Mom. Give Mom a round of applause. Yes.
Yeah. The third grade teacher for most of that time. So I grew up with her, being this master educator. And I gained just a real respect for teachers and the amount of work that they put in. Because, I think people sometimes think that teacher's day ends at 3:00, and it doesn't. They go home, they grade papers, they're thinking about their next lesson. They're always thinking about how they can reach the kid that seems unreachable. And I just grew up with that.
Right.
And so I just have this incredible respect for educators and for the craft of teaching children. And so I became a teacher myself before I went into doing the work that I do now.
Right.
Because now I just work with teachers, and my whole job is about supporting them. And it's about just making their job easier.
Fantastic.
If that's possible.
Yeah.
And kind of removing a little bit of the pressure that they have, because they're under so much pressure right now.
Yeah. Public history, though.
Yeah.
I never hear anyone speaking about public history. Now, even heard of a focus in public history, right? So is it specific to, say, for example, regions, cities? So explain a little bit more.
Yeah, so I like to think about public history as the reason why the history is told. So I was always interested in why we were telling this side of the story.
Gotcha.
Because when you think about history, sometimes you're really only learning one side. And so public history.
His story.
Exactly. It's right. Not a lot of her story, right? Or their story.
That's right.
So I was always interested in the other side, the sides that were hidden, the sides of the people that weren't being told. So that's why I went into that field. I loved museums. And I really wanted to learn how to tell a story from lots of different perspectives, not just the perspectives that we're all used to. But all the different ones. Right. And I got a chance to do that. I got a chance to work in archives. And when you work in the archives, you get the stuff that nobody knows about.
Okay.
So, you learn about a little girl that lived in the house that nobody ever knew that she lived there. But you got to learn about her and the way that she dressed and the things that she liked to do and all of those kinds of things. And that's the history I was interested in.
Interesting. Was it anything that you learned in your studies that was a shock to you? Like, oh, wow, I can't believe that. Was it anything, one of those aha moments?
So my master's thesis was on Pocahontas. of all things.
Interesting.
And, the story of Pocahontas was that she kind of saves John Smith, and that's the reason why America gets, saved. And what I learned... More history, right? Yeah. And what I actually learned was that story was probably one that was sort of like a ritual in the tribe that she lived in. And it wasn't something that she decided, right? It was her father made her do that.
Interesting.
And so, and she didn't have a lot of choice in her life. And I think that for me was like, wow, it just kind of takes a different spin on everything. And it gives you the perspective that we really have to do a better job with telling stories and telling the whole story of America and really, the world, because we don't get all sides. And the more that we can find out, the more that we're all included in that.
Yeah, I like that. One of the things that you say in your bio is that you like to amplify the voices of the young, right? The young folk. Yeah. Why is that such an important piece to you?
Again, I think it goes back to a little bit of what I just said. I think sometimes that we don't think about children as having opinions and having voices. Yeah. And I work with kids every day that have really strong opinions about their community, who understand a lot more than we give them credit for, and are the future.
Right, there you go. That part.
And should have a say in what that future looks like right now. And so I think they're related a little bit, about why I studied history in the way that I did, and why I believe that kids really should have a say in the way in which they're educated. And also because I think it just makes education more interesting. For kids, when they're able to say, this is what I want to study, this is what I'm interested in, it makes it makes them want to come to school.
That's right.
And it makes them want to say, wow, I'm doing something in this classroom that really matters.
That's right.
I'm not learning something that's kind of out there and I don't know why I'm learning it. I'm learning it because it's happening in my community and I care about it.
At one time, there was a big thing about CRT, critical race theory. What's your thoughts on that?
So critical race theory really has nothing to do with public education. It's not taught in public schools. It's a theory that is taught in graduate level courses. It's not anything to do with
law
third
too,
graders.
Law too.
And in law, right, exactly. Not even in I didn't even encounter critical race theory in my master's program. So I think, again, it was a label that was placed by probably people that were kind of afraid of what kids might say, but it doesn't have anything to do with public education in and of itself. What my organization, Need Indeed, does is it simply offers kids a chance to say what they care about in their community, and offers them a chance to say, I'm really concerned about the gun violence in my community. I'm really concerned about police brutality. I'm concerned about animal abuse. And that, to me, is what we want kids to do. We want kids to form opinions. We want them to think critically. And thinking critically doesn't have anything to do with critical race theory for a third grader or even for an eighth grader. It's just something that I think, again, a label was placed to kind of put a blanket statement over lots of things that it really wasn't.
Yeah, fantastic.
Talk to us more about Need Indeed. When was that established? How did it come about? And what services do you provide?
Yeah, so Need Indeed is almost 40 years old.
Oh, wow.
It was established in 1987 by a group of parents that were concerned about the community service that their students were doing in school. Not that they were concerned that they were doing community service, but they were concerned about the fact that their kids didn't understand why they were doing community service. And so they thought to themselves, what if kids could choose the service they did? And they created a framework that we use. And our framework is like a binder. And we go through and Need Indeed staff members would go into schools and they would go through this framework where kids would choose a social issue they care about, learn about it, and then do something about it. And it would take the better part of a school year. And that was the way that we ran for the first probably 17 years of Need and Deed's existence. 20 years ago, we shifted to what we call our network model, where we now train teachers to do that framework with their students. And so the teachers actually now incorporate the framework into their curriculum, so that if kids choose something like homelessness, we can help them weave that topic into the classroom. So it could be part of social studies, it could be a part of English, it can be a part of math. So again, the kids are really seeing like, wow, the thing that I care about is a part of math.
Yeah.
It's a part of English. It's a part of social studies. And I'm going to come to school because I want to keep learning about it. And by the end of the school year, they're going to do something about that, an actual civic action that they'll actually do and really make a difference in their communities.
I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you said that because one of the reasons why we brought you on the show is because you are a fellow partner in EVA, right? Every voice, every vote. And we love to amplify the voices of the partners because one of the things that we quickly realized within being part of that cohort is that there's not a lot of organizations like us, right? And because of that, what that then allows us to do is give you our platform to help amplify your voices even more, right? Now, to that point, right, I want to give you the opportunity, one, because we usually start with this question, what is civics, or what does civics mean to you, right? And how you attack civics or engage within civics within your organization. But also talk a little bit about your organization for those who are watching now to know some of the things that you're doing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So for me, what civics is really knowing what's going on in your community.
That's right.
And knowing that you have a say in what's going on in your community. That if you don't like something that's happening in your community, there is a person that represents you, and you can go to that person and say, hey, I don't like this. Can we change it? How can we work together to change it? And so that's really what I think about when I think about civics. And it's what I think about civic engagement too. Need and Deed, that's what we're teaching kids, is that there's a way that you can engage with your community that doesn't have to be about complaining or about apathy or anything like that. If you see something in your community, let's work together and figure out how we change it.
Yeah.
Or if we like something, let's figure out how we do more of it.
Right.
So that's really, powerful for us. We're really amazed to be part of EV2 because it gives us the opportunity to do a forum where we're actually calling it our Educational Equity Forum. It's our second forum.
Okay.
It's going to be on February 19th. And we're going to be talking about Philly schools as humane spaces. And how do we advocate for the rights of Black and brown children, for immigrant children, for LGBTQIA children in this time where those children are under threat? How do we become advocates for them? And we have an amazing panel that's going to be moderated by Representative Rabb. We'll have Shanae Garner from Lift Every Voice Philly. We'll have Erica Guadalupe Nunez from Juntos, Rue Landau from City Council, and one more person that has escaped my mind. But yeah, so we'll have, an amazing panel discussion. And it's going to be February 19th. It's at FUMCOG at First United Methodist Church in Germantown. And it's going to be online and in person.
Okay.
And folks can go to our website, which is needandeed.org, to register for
Fantastic.
that. Yeah.
Fantastic. So will there be a visual aspect to it? Will people be able to see it if they're not there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So it'll be live streamed actually, which is great. And we'll actually gonna start the program with some student voices. Okay. So we're actually in the process right now of asking our kids, like, what is your vision for Philadelphia? And how do we as adults live that out for them? Because we're going to hand this world off to them.
Right.
And we have a job to do before we do that.
And I'm glad you said that. I have like a two-part question. So because of where we're heightened, and I know you specify really with grades 3 through 8,
Yeah.
right? how do teachers handle it when students are out of control? I'm talking, you have students that are now like, fighting teachers. How do teachers handle that appropriately by staying safe? And also, how do teachers prevent burnout? Like you said, when they go home, they're still working, they're still spending their own money. So again, a two-part question.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's very hard right now. I think we haven't addressed all the things that COVID did to us emotionally, and especially to kids. I think one of the things that our teachers are great at, and what we really encourage them to do, is to build relationships with kids. It is all about relationships. So if a student, and this was important for me too as an educator, if a student is having a tough day, you having a relationship with that student is going to be the difference between whether or not that student has an even worse day, or can calm down with you. It's really going to be the difference. And so I think it's about encouraging that kind of relationship building, and really just being present for students, and being present for teachers themselves. And I think it's about finding ways to support teachers in our community. They just don't get enough credit for the work they do.
That's right.
And
that's right.
they really don't. And it's, as I said, it is very hard, and it's very easy to get burned out because, you're spending your own money. You feel like maybe you don't have supportive administration. There's lots of that. So just making sure that when you see a teacher, making sure that you say thank you to them. It's almost like we say thank you for your service to those in the military. I think we should say it to teachers too.
Absolutely.
Because they just need and they deserve it.
No, I agree with that. And I just want to expand a little bit more on that, because I want to tease out, what do you believe we can do for teachers, right? There's actually a thread, #TeacherTikTok, where they're explaining the challenges in the schools. They're explaining some of the even learning roadblocks that they're running into, and seeing certain, I guess, trends that's happening with our kids, right? I don't believe they get paid well enough. No. I've been in the schools. I lectured in the schools. I talked to the schools. I even have a director's credentials where I talked in early education, right? I taught in early education, was a director for a few different centers. And so I do see the amount of work that teachers do, right? That's not being, I guess, amplified enough in terms of the great work or the amount of work that they do. And to your point of giving money, giving their own funds, coming out their pockets, because they're not getting enough money for the curriculum that they have to follow, right? And so to that point, what can we actually do for teachers to support them more for just being basic citizens ourselves?
I think the more that we actually can, where we can, volunteer in schools. Right? If we can, go down to the street to the school and to say, listen, can I help you?
Well, to that point, they don't even allow some parents and people in the schools now.
It can be really hard.
And then they make it even harder to even get clearance to do some stuff in schools, right?
Yeah.
And so to that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off with that, but no, I hear you, but we have to, for me, it's about, I shouldn't have cut you off, I'm sorry for that. We have to do more with allowing or giving agency for what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
No, it's absolutely, that is 100% true. And where you can, I think it is important to offer the help, where you can, right? Because clearances are real, right? All of those kinds of things are real. The other thing, that if you're a parent, then ask your student what they're doing in school. Like helping your child engage in class is extremely helpful to a teacher. Because then they're not dealing with some of those behavioral issues, right? If you're the parent that's engaged with your child, and even just having conversation, that goes a long way. A lot of teachers also have different things like donors choose, things like that, where they're trying to not use their own money to get a library for the classroom or to do something that they really want to do in the classroom. It's donating to those kinds of things. Just again, finding ways to really support them in their efforts. It's very challenging. And I think there's the other thing to do is around advocacy, right? There are ways that we can advocate for teachers to be paid more, right? There are keeping an eye on legislation that's happening, keeping an eye on legislation that's happening around school funding. Like the lawsuit that happened last year around, the fact that we now should be getting more money coming into Pennsylvania schools because it was ruled that there's not enough money flowing into Pennsylvania schools. So really advocating and asking our legislators, hey, what's going on with that? Is that going to happen? Where is that funding that's happening? Right. It's sort of keeping our eyes open for those kinds of things.
Speaking of policies, what are your thoughts for President Trump, with the Board of Education now taking that away? And how important do you think the Board of Education, since we've already have a baseline and we've experienced what it is and we know what flaws they have, what's your take, positive or negative, as to what changes are about to come?
I mean, I think in terms of the Department of Education, one thing that's not answered for me is what happens to special education funding, because that's the federal government sort of mandates special education funding. So if that is cut off, I don't know what happens at a state level. That's really scary. So any child that has an IEP that needs special assistance, that's not going to happen if the Department of Education goes away. So it's quite frightening.
So that happens on a
federal level.
Not on the state level.
Not on the state level, right? That money comes from the federal government.
Do you think that they're going to now make it where programs are on the state level for that?
I'm not sure where. I don't know.
Right.
But
no talks about it.
There's no talks about that. I have not heard about that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So the Department of Education is quite important. And I think these are things that we just don't know, right? There's things that we just kind of assume that are there and we're not sure exactly what's happening. But that's in a really important department, like I said, especially around special education funding, and making sure that the money is flowing to our schools. Yes, a lot of money comes from the state, but there are federal dollars that flow down to the local level. And it's really important that we ensure that those dollars keep flowing.
Has the Department of Education been, I know that you mentioned that, but have they been extremely instrumental as far as on the positive side? Or is there a reason to say, hey, wait, we need to probably either rebuild, dismantle what type of organization they are?
I think that there's a lot of... It's a difficult question to answer, because I think education in and of itself could use a revamp, right? Like we're still educating children like, we're an agrarian society, right? We're still doing that. So I think all in all, education could use a total sort of revitalization and thinking about what does it mean to educate a child of the 21st century?
Right, because a lot of sigmoid and all of the, those psychologists, we're still looking at that in child development and lifespan. And it's like, hey,
exactly.
Why can't we have some other type of scholars to look at?
Right, exactly. And, things that are coming down the pipeline now, like AI, right? AI is here, right? So how are we making sure that our students are prepared to go out into the world and work in a world that is dominated by AI?
Absolutely.
And so I think that there's a lot of things that we could do to revitalize the educational system. I had a lot of hopes when COVID happened that, it was a completely different sort of thing, right? And I had a lot of hope that, wow, this could be an actual opportunity where we could say, what does it mean to educate a kid? right? If we're learning how to educate children remotely, what does that mean for the classroom?
Yeah.
And we kind of went back to doing all the things that we were doing before. And so I think we're still in this period of like, who knows what's going to happen? But we need change. We need real change.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of private schools, because it allows them to be a little bit more, I guess, creative
Agile.
with their curriculum to do certain things, to innovate, right? Because unfortunately, as you stated, and I 100% agree, we're in this, this particular moment where we're still stuck on how we used to do things when the entire world is innovating now.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I mean, listen, they're not even teaching how to write in cursive now in schools.
Right.
They took that out, right? Yet they're not putting all of the innovative stuff in the
still
schools.
doing
If you're taking
standardized
away,
testing,
if you're taking away certain things, you got to put some things in there, right? And so it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I 100% agree. This time is speeding really fast. I mean, one thing that we say is once you come to the show, you're a friend to the show, so you're always welcome to come back. So I'm throwing that
Thank you.
the invite
Yes.
right now, right? But what I do want to do real quickly is pull up. This is your media deck, your media kit for. I'm gonna move this over.
Oh, that's our shout out.
Your shout out. So let's go through this, because I think this deserves some commentary. Let me see if I could make sure. I gotta really do this quick little shout out. We gotta do this ID real quick before we talk. So this is We Talk Weeklies after the talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
and the beautiful
Lady Esther.
And we are here right now with someone with whom we have a tremendous amount of respect for, talking about Need Indeed, some of the dynamic work that she is doing in the schools and educating not only the youth, our future, but some of the teachers, giving them some tools. And what she's about to do at this point is walk us through some of the things that's happening within. What is it called? Your promote. What is it? What is it again?
Yeah, Need Indeed, our program.
Our
Yeah.
program. So let's talk through that, because you can see what I pull up. I'm gonna try to increase the size of this real quick, because I think. Oh, here we go. We right here. So let's talk a little bit about this. So. This is Need Indeed, and this is your program guide, and I love the fact. So May 21st, so this is when it began.
So the shout out is actually our year-end celebration.
Oh, fantastic.
So we do it every year.
Right.
And it's when our students get to talk about the projects that they completed over the course of the school year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And these, is that Roz?
Yes, that is.
Let me tell you something about Roz right here. So
We love Rob.
Roz is one of those dynamic. This is the reason why I do the show. For people like that, people like you. No one knows about the stuff that she do except the people that's really in those streets, right? And so I talk about her a lot because, I have been down to give her resources in Kensington, in the middle of Kensington, right? And the amount of people who she is helping just because she loves what she does with no help, right? And so I love the Amplify. I forgot the name of her organization. The Sunshine House, I believe it's called, the Sunshine House that she is. But amazing woman. We'll have her on the show. She's a good friend of mine. We give a lot of stuff to help her and assist some of the work that she does for the community, for the people.
Yeah.
And so interesting that I didn't notice that. So shout out to Rob. So let's get more from the experience. You ask questions, you do a lot of things, right? Need Indeed. And something that I seen was, let me see, the inside Need Indeed classrooms. And so what happens in the classrooms as you go through this?
Yeah. So our students choose at the beginning of the year. We just ask the teachers to get to know the kids, right? Who are these children in front of you?
Right.
And what do they care about in their community? And they'll choose a social issue that they care about.
Love it. Civics 101.
Exactly. Exactly. They'll choose a social issue they care about. And then we come in and help the teacher find resources so that that the kids can learn about that social issue. So we'll send them books and videos and podcasts so that the kids can learn about it, and community partners. So Roz is one of our favorite community partners.
Shout out to Roz right there. No doubt.
Yeah. So Roz will come in and talk to students about what's happening in Kensington, about the work that she's doing. And then using all of the things that the kids have learned, they'll come up with some kind of action to do by the end of the school year. And so what you're looking at there is our program for the shout out. And those were just some of the projects. This year, we're working in 47 schools with about 70 teachers across the city. And our projects range the students choose anything from gun violence to mental health to climate change to whatever's on their mind that particular year. That's what they choose. And they get very, very passionate about their topics.
I'm sure.
And they really become little experts on it. So you mentioned, we're friends now, so I'm going to make sure that you all have an invitation to the shout out so that you can come and see the kids and hear from them and hear what they've learned and what they're doing and what they care about.
Oh, fantastic. So make sure y'all support, man. What a dynamic organization is community service organization, right? You're talking about an organization that is here for those kids. And it says, look, 844-500-6911. Is that still?
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
No, so shout out to you and some of the things that you're doing. If there is anything that we can do at We Talk Weekly, right? I mean, we do this for the love. We do this for the love. We love what we do, and we love to amplify people like yourself to make sure that people hear your voice, hear the things that you're doing so they can participate in, right? And so the only thing we ask is that you pay it forward. That's the only thing that we ask is that you pay it forward to help those who need a little push, right? And so how can anyone get in contact with you and all that good old stuff?
Yeah. So our website is www.needindeed.org. If you want to come to the Educational Equity Forum, then you can register on that website. The other person that I forgot to mention was Christina Moon from Children First. She's also on our panel. And my email address is Kyra, Kyra, @needindeed.org. And you can always send me an email, and I'm happy to get in touch. If you're interested in being a community partner in a classroom to help kids learn about a social issue or to help kids complete a service, you can also email me because we're always looking for folks that work in the areas that our kids choose. And you can always donate and, just get in touch with us.
Yeah, fantastic. Give a round of applause to Kyra in the building. No doubt. Shout out to you. Shout out to the work you do. And ladies and gentlemen,
thank you for the work that you do.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So I don't want you guys to go anywhere. I think this is a great time to go to some more kids. Right?
Yeah,
that's been doing some excellent work out there in the civics and the newscape. That they are We Talk Weekly fellows. So I don't want you to go anywhere. When we come back, we got Brother Bowman that was hanging out there about to do his thing. But I don't want y'all